Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Yet again, on the second day of the launch of Gotospace, here we are. We had a fruitful day yesterday. We are yet on the second day of the Gotospace launch live in Botswana. Before I even say anything, I want to thank all those who participated in yesterday's event, but especially the presenters who did quite a nice and commendable job. And I would love to congratulate our sister in Botswana, Madame Basuti Gatibolo, for having made this milestone achievement to have the organization Gotospace launched and therefore taking up initiatives of space science to another level. You're welcome to Tanya Innovations Africa. I would love to let all of you know that all this is happening live on Tanya Innovations Africa. You may go to YouTube, type in Tanya Space Innovations Space Africa, and you can subscribe to the platform to be able to get latest information across Africa and different deliberations that occur. So I welcome our listeners tonight to this platform. Today we have eminent speakers again, just like yesterday. And among the many speakers that we are going to have today, we have Honorable Florence Mutiable, the Senior Presidential Advisor on Poverty Alleviation to the Ugandan President. She's here with us already. We have Dr. Adebayo Oluwole Eludoyin, the Department Coordinator of Postgraduate Programs in Obafemi Awolowo University. I hope I've pronounced that well, from Nigeria. Very welcome, Dr. Adebayo. We have with us William Gose, the founder of the Human Entrepreneur South Africa. He's already here with us. We have Professor Emmanuel Abiodun Ariibi, who is an Earth and Space Physics research, who comes from the Earth and Space Physics Research Laboratory Department of the Physics and Engineering Department, University of Nigeria. We have, we have Dr. Kyla L. Tenin, Chair Board, President and Global CEO of Lord Mirage Global Inc. and World Business Angels Investment. I think she has been with us since yesterday, and that shows good discipline and commitment to the cause. Finally, we have our host, Madame Basuti Bologati from Botswana, and she's live with us. I'm sure she's one of the happiest women today. So, ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, you would allow me to invite the Senior Presidential Advisor, Honorable Florence Mutiable, to take us through her presentation. She's indeed looking very presidential.
Hello, Evanis. Can you get
Hello,
me?
we can hear you.
Thank you very much, moderator Evanis Tabingwa. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, viewers from all the different parts of this world. I am already introduced by Evanis, and I want to go straight to appreciating my co-presenters of yesterday. Sherry from the USA, Moleri, Botswana, Monica, Uganda, Toran, Turkey, Nicole, Australia, Basuti, for putting this new development in Africa. Thank you, Basuti. And Tanya Innovation Africa, kudos for connecting Africa on such events. My topic for presentation this evening is Spacelight Alleviating Poverty in Uganda. Why did I choose this topic? I chose this topic because Uganda is committed to reducing poverty using space technology. I am not an expert in space science, but as a leader in this changing world, faced with challenges of post-COVID-19 effects, I must look for information that can help in fighting poverty. And space science is a wonder weapon. My interaction with Basuti for just 2 weeks, she has made me to be here. Together with other global experts who have been involved in science for a greater period of time, has made me appreciate in the post-COVID era that space science is a necessity in our development. Uganda is planning to launch its first satellite into low Earth orbit in September 2022. Data will be received by a ground station in Mpoma, Mukono district, and will be utilized for a variety of purposes, including environmental monitoring, meteorology, urban planning, mineral exploration, and disaster management. Uganda has been faced by challenges of floods in Kasese and mudslides in Bududa, where many lives have been lost. The satellites can be used to warn people. All these are connected to poverty alleviation in the country. We have a Ministry for Science, Technology, and Innovations. The enabling policy on science, technology, and innovation is in place. It states that national science, technology, and innovation plans and programs make an effective contribution to socio-economic development. Thus, space science alleviates poverty. And here is how agriculture. This sector employs the highest percentage of Ugandans. Some are doing subsistence farming and others do commercial agriculture. However, both groups are guided by weather forecasts, as told by the Uganda Meteorology Center, whose source of information is guided by the satellite system. The rains are now easier predicted, and farmers are advised accordingly. Education. During the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, many students were able to continue with education via space technology. They used the phones to keep in touch with their teachers. Other learners that had access to radios and TVs used these channels to receive content instructions from teachers. Space technology has greatly made the education system in Uganda a success because teachers no longer have to sit for long hours in class teaching students. They encourage research through internet. Most schools in Uganda are now embracing computer lessons, which have been made mandatory at advanced levels. Fighting crime. In the earlier days, we used to rely so much on hiring night watchmen at school and homes to avoid intrusion. These days, with space technology, one is able to monitor his home, school, or business, or on his or her phone, not physically there. Insecurity of property in Uganda was high, and yet security agencies were thin on ground due to limited numbers. These days, people have adopted to use of gadgets like surveillance cameras, vehicle tracking chips, of which are linked to space technology. This has made fighting poverty a reality as there is enhanced sophisticated security of persons and property. Research and marketing. In Uganda, even those in the informal sector, like farming, border business, restaurants, bakery, all rely on space technology. Use of mobile phones is the rule these days. Some have even come up with special apps marketing their products. And with several apps available, this has made it easier for Ugandans to do more research and come up with highly competitive products to suit the needs of their clients. Mining sector. This is one of the growing sectors in the country. Uganda is endowed with many minerals whose discovery has been aided by use of space technology. There have been aerial mapping of mineral areas. Those who stay in such areas get jobs from factories and also supply workers with foodstuffs. Transport. Uganda uses
Recording
four
in
major
progress.
types of transport: water, railway, road, and air. Whereas railway, water, and road do not require use of the radar system, air transport does. The country receives and dispatches many aircrafts, and this has made it a safe country to travel using air transport. We have many Ugandans traveling abroad for trade purposes and others for technology transfer. Business communication. From teachers to bankers, taxi operators to farmers, down to the village. Use of communication gadgets is a must. If someone is not using a radio, is using a phone. Radios are also a great avenue of marketing and have been used to advertise products. Additionally, internet-based platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp, all have been used by business people to market their products. This has saved time for them and yet created a wide market for their products. Banking sector. There is no doubt a major revolution in this sector has been possible because of space technology. People no longer have to face the burden of making long queues at the bank premises because they want to transact business. They do it at their own will. Otherwise, most of them use phone gadgets to transact business. People now use mobile money banking system, automatic teller machines, all linked to advancement in space technology. And many of them are able to make savings easier. And in conclusion, African Union is committed to prioritizing this African agenda to inclusive socio-economic development, among other things. The policy goal number 2 for the African Agenda 2063 talks about creating a well-coordinated and integrated African space program that is responsible for social, economic, political, and globally competitive. Therefore, Uganda is not exceptional to this commitment. We are committed to reducing poverty among all sections of our people. Whatever we are talking about is a good initiative, which is in line with the African Agenda 2063 of what African Union wants to do. Thank you very much, listeners, for listening in, and over to you, moderator.
Wow. That is quite a wonderful presentation from you, Honorable Florence Muntyabire. I think you have been able to paint where space technology has done wonders amidst your busy schedule of moving through communities in Busoga, and accordingly advising the president. We've been able to learn quite a lot from you. And I think that way common man should be able to still be able to connect space science to the ordinary things that the Wananchis go through. Thank you very much for that elaborate, well-articulated presentation.
You are welcome.
Okay. So now that we are away from Uganda, from the senior presidential advisor, we want to go to Nigeria. We have Dr. Iroka Chidima Joy. She's going to talk about the benefits of space science and technology to Africa. I think she's coming from an academic position. These are people who are teaching our young people in terms of different technologies related to space science. And I think we want to now hear or listen from her in terms of the benefits of space science and technology to Africa. There are so many people who say, why should we be able to talk about space science when we have basic problems like hunger still disturbing people? Do we hear the politicians or the political leaders taking the issue of space science serious? Why do we need to take it serious? How does this help Africa? I don't have those answers. Dr. Chidinma Iroka has those answers. Dr. Iroka Chidinma is the Assistant Director, Engineering and Space Systems Division in National Space Research and Development Agency in Nigeria. Very welcome, Dr. Chidinma Iroka, and take us through your presentation, please.
Yeah, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are. Please, the host should enable me to share my screen. Thank you very much for the introduction. Can I share my screen, please?
Yeah, you can share your screen.
You have disabled me from sharing my screen, please.
Okay, just 1 minute.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, as we have that allowed, I think the important remarks that the senior presidential advisor talked about was that she has been able to learn details about space science from our colleague in Botswana, Basuti Gatibolo. So we still want to thank you, Basuti, for this influence you're transferring right from Botswana to Uganda. And you can see that she has made a very powerful speech, and I think that is productive to our leaders. So thank you for that. Madam Chidinma, I think we have already allowed you to share your PowerPoints.
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let's open the screen first.
You can be introducing yourself, Madam Iroka, as you do the technology jig.
Yeah, thank you. I'm coming, please. Give me some minutes, please. Thank you.
So to our listeners, yes, we are on the second day of the virtual space launch of Gotospace in Botswana. All of us, the participants, the presenters, are coming from different countries in Africa. This morning, different countries in Africa and even outside Africa.
Good.
Yesterday, we had presenters from Australia. We had presenters from Turkey. We had presenters from the United States of America. We had cabinet minister from Uganda. We had presenters and presenters from Botswana and Nigeria, among many other presenters. This afternoon, as I've introduced our presenters,
Yes.
majorly we have quite a big chunk from Nigeria. We have some from Uganda. We have had our senior presidential advisor. We have presenters from the United States of America. And still we have the person at the core of this, Madame Basuti Gatibolo, who is the founder of Gotospace, with us. Otherwise, keep listening. These are very informative topics. I've gotten comments from viewers who said they were so much enriched about space science yesterday. Thank you so much. Madame Iroka, you may take the space.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you see my
Yes, we can see
screen now? Oh,
yes.
Good. Thank you very much. Sorry for the little delay.
No, it's okay.
My name is Iroka Chidima. Thanks for the introduction, and thank you so much, Basuti, for inviting me, and congratulations to Botswana for the great feat that you guys are making into space. I'm here to make a presentation on the benefits of space science and technology to Africa. Just like you said, why would we leave the hunger in Africa to go and be venturing into space technology? I want to say that space is everything. Let's go to the outline. We have the introduction, why space technology, in short form is SST, and then benefits of space science and technology, then the areas of application of space science and technology. So the introduction, everything is about space, everything is about technology, but if you want to make it strong or advanced, is the space technology, because space technology is technology that can take you, to everywhere, even to the unreached. And space technology is the order of the day. Space technology is the technology that is for today and the future. Space technology is a technology that will usher you into the world power. If you want to belong to the world power, you must venture into space technology. And there are so many other applications or services for space science and technology. So, space science, why are we venturing into space technology? Why must we go into space technology? Why are we talking about space technology in times like this? We are talking about space technology because it's the technology of today and the future, as I said earlier. It will help to accommodate every one of us, the women, the girls, the boys, the youth, everywhere, no matter your category. Space technology will take you, especially even in our communication, situations these days. Again, satellite services as the order of the day, we could see we use satellite services for our meetings. The physical meetings are no longer in vogue. Instead of you spending so much money calling people together to fly to come for events, you just like, okay, let's organize the Zoom meeting the way we are doing today. These are the spin-off of space technology. And again, I have other things I have listed below that we will discuss. So what are the benefits of space technology? Why must we go to this space technology? I want to say that we need space technology for our health, or in the area of health and medicine. So space science and technology has developed strong societal development in terms of health and medicine. So using a kind of fly medical aid, drones that are controlled through Internet of Things can be used to transport blood to hospital blood banks in emergency situations. Maybe in a case of a woman having surgery, and the hospital doesn't have a screened blood or a blood group for the individual, the person in charge of the surgery can put up a call to another hospital, and they will use drone to fly the blood wherever the surgery is taking place. So it's a kind of fly drone aid to donate blood. With space technology, we can do that. Again, there are some apps, that doctors use now to ease medical care. Some people will be at their homes with the apps. They will be asked to fill in the forms of the symptoms they see in their lives. So with those things, they fill the forms, and then the doctors will attend to them from there. And again, they might not even have the time to come and be queuing up in the hospitals, wasting time or waiting for them to see the doctor. So with some apps that we have in our Android phones, we can access medical care. And another thing is telemedicine. Just like we know, someone can be in Nigeria and will be looking for assistance from a hospital in the US. An easy way of doing it is, calling up a specialist, an expert, a consultant, can be called upon from the US or any part of the continent to assist in medical problems in any of the African countries, the underdeveloped countries, and then they will get it immediately. And again, we have agriculture. The space science and technology cannot be overemphasized. The benefits of space science and technology cannot be overemphasized in the area of agriculture. Though there are so many ongoing research and, in agriculture. And agriculture has been advanced through space science and technology. For example, remote sensing satellites have provided key data monitoring, key data services for monitoring soil, snow cover, drought, and crop. Sorry, you can't hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. So I was talking about the benefit of space science and technology in the area of agriculture. And I said we have so many ongoing researches, and it is limitless. So agriculture has advanced through the services of space science and technology. And I want to say that, for example, in remote sensing satellites, we have provided key data for monitoring soil, monitoring snow cover, drought and crop development, monitoring rainfall assessments. And rainfall assessment we are talking about, we use drone satellites. It has helped farmers to plan the time and the amount of irrigation they need for their crops. It will help you to know the type of crops to plant on a particular soil and at a particular season. It can also help you to forecast, weather conditions, so that you can know when a particular crop or weather is good for a particular plant, and when to, plant due to climate change. Again, Internet of Things, where we use drones, that are controlled by communication and GNSS satellites, to spray insecticides. They can precisely hover over the farm and apply the insecticides, to the farm, and also take pictures of the nature of the crops to know where there is a deprived crop in terms of the leaves, to take the leaf texture and snaps through data, data mining. They can now determine the disease that has affected the crops and prescribe the right insecticide to eliminate all those diseases from the crop. So there are so many things that the space science and technology has helped to achieve in terms of agriculture. And to summarize it, irrigation farming, the study of soil and texture, moisture content, and applying the correct irrigation principles. And this just to mention but a few. So in terms of transportation, we could see that the space science and technology has helped also in transporting of our crops, even to anywhere we want to go to. And even in the case of transporting yourself from Nigeria, as the case may be, to another location in the world, space science and technology has made it easy. You be in your house, you book your flights, you don't need to go, to the airport to queue and book flights, and so many other information that it provides. Another one is public safety security, which is the security. And in terms of security, space science and technology has really helped us in Africa. Although the security, we have not embraced it that much in Africa. But I know that in other countries, other developed countries, where these trackers are, being used to track insects, which is enabled by satellites. So if you have goods that you want to rotate, you can use a GPS tracker on the item, and anywhere you are, the item, you will locate the item, and you can use GPS reader. You can use the GPS reader. You can use the GPS for your cars, which will help you to provide security for your cars and your properties. Generally, assets tracking and protection is done by GPS satellites. By having a GPS receiver with you, you tune it to the location and you get the code for the equipment, and then the instruments, you can track it. So anywhere you are in the world, you can track the assets and be located. The communication and the GNSS satellites has helped to track object assets, generally to provide safety for those assets, both human and physical assets. So the safety through space science and technology can, not be overemphasized. Again, you can also have webcam installed on your items anywhere you are. You can have the camera bring back the image of people who are with you if they are intruders or thieves. It can relate to you, the image of the person with the assets. Either it has been stolen or it has been compromised. Another one is that you can use CCTV, which is also a spin-off of space technology. It can be used to secure assets by monitoring and tracking and identifying through those monitoring. You can see the image that has been picked or that you are looking for.
Dr. Iroka, sorry for interruption. Maybe as it looks like you have a lot of material really, but I hope that you can be able to summarize maybe in the next 2 minutes.
Good. Thank you very much. So we have the energy and the environment. In the energy and the environment, in terms of space science and technology, the technologies that have been developed to provide the power stations through space science and technology, like in the recent advances that we have made in solar panels, we are made possible by all those researches that we are put in to make better solar panels, to make spacecraft and shuttles. So the same technology during the development of those satellites, efficient solar panels were applied on Earth to provide power, green energy, that is renewable energy, whereby the sources of production is also limitless, like the sun, by converting solar energy and um, doing more advanced solar panel that were made for spacecrafts. And again, for the information technology has helped strengthen scientific research in terms of information sharing through the use of computers. You can do Zoom, Skype, Google Meet, like I said earlier. All of these are benefits of space science and technology. Without being physically present, they can send you pictures, data, any research outputs, without you traveling to get all those. So space science and technology benefits are numerous. For the industrial production, most of the machines we use are being enhanced through this mechanism of industrial productivity. So many machines, especially robotics, all those technology advances in space science and technology that we are using, unmanned vehicles, the unmanned missions, all those capabilities of unmanned missions have been integrated into our lives and even in the industry to enhance production. In automation, we have assembly plants. They use assembly lines to make robots to, produce parts and assemble them, automatically. In production lines, we use robotics that have been made to assemble parts of vehicles. So there are so many ways space science and technology can help us, even in the labs, making analyzing processes, making things in larger scale, having mass production. And again, in culture and inspiration, it has really helped to reduce the cultural practices that, that reduce us from not coming up to do some things. And then the inspiration it has given to us again cannot be overemphasized. So these are the applications that I have, spoken of, the telephony services that has helped us to talk to one another, even within our local communities, and then the direct-to-home services like our televisions, the security we talked about, the telemedicine we talked about. So with all these, you could see that space science and technology is a very big, it has a very big benefit. And for those of us that are just trying to come into space technology, please, I encourage you to come into space technology and have yourself, involved in everything about space technology. The benefits are numerous and it cannot be overemphasized. Because of our time, I would like to stop here and I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk today. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Dr. Iroka Chidima, taking us through the benefits of space science and technology. You appear to have had a lot of information that you wanted to share. Unfortunately, in the interest of time, we can only be able to take that little, but thank you for your time. Thank you for taking through us on those benefits.
Thank you very much.
Next, we would like to invite a doctor who is going to talk about empowering skills in space studies, a geographical perspective. He's a geographer. This person is none other than Dr. Adebayo Oluwole Eludoyin, who is a departmental coordinator of postgraduate programs, Department of Geography, Obafemi Awolowo University from Nigeria. Dr. Adebayo,
thank you very much. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, brilliant. Please permit me to just quickly share my poster. Okay.
Share the slide?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I can just share now. Okay. Now, can you see my shared? Can you see my shared? Can you see it now?
Yeah, we can see them. Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good morning, everyone. Well, depending on your location. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to talk about empowering skills in space studies. I'm a geographer from Obafemi University, and I'm just going to talk about some of the experience we have here. First of all, I think I have to congratulate and also appreciate Basuti, who interestingly was part of us some years ago in Ife. So I think we are very proud to have you, and we are very grateful for what you are doing. And then I just want to say that Obafemi University hosts about two centers, at least two African centers. The one we call AFRIGIST. That's the one that's formerly known as Regional Center for Training in Surveys, in aerial surveys. And then we have the AXTI, interestingly, where Basuti completed her work. And then my presentation format is just to introduce to us what the basis of my presentation is, the concerns, and then what geography is involved, what geographers do, and then geography and SDG skills in geography, and then the challenge that we have now. I'm going to start by talking about a kind of summary of African policy as given by Brucker 2020. He said, if Africa is to leapfrog into technological advancement of the 21st century, then we have to develop adequate number of indigenous space scientists, engineers, and related professionals that will actively contribute to finding solutions to continental problems. That is just a summary of African space policy. That's just interestingly, we have a space policy. And then we have lots of concerns. These are things we got from, different media. Something like Africa is blasting its ways into the space race. We have space science capabilities depending on quality education. Over $3 billion have been spent on space projects in Africa. These are concerns that have been raised by different people. Many people are happy with that. Many people saying what we are doing is not sufficient. We can do more. And interestingly, the project being fronted by Basuti is actually one of the major good projects that we can have to do more. But again, sincerely talking about this issue, that sincerely speaking, Africa is actually making progress. But whether the progress is making effort, whether it's satisfactory or not, it's now an issue. Well, talking about geography, geography, we refer to ourselves as a mother of all scientists because we get other disciplines involved. Generally speaking, we have human, people that study human features and those that study physical features. But the good thing is that we not study all these things in isolation. We study interaction between them, between the physical and human features in order to be able to talk about advancement of human livelihood, advancement of mankind. And this is interesting. This is where the concept of space technology is coming from. Generally speaking, we define geography as science of place and space. Space is involved. Place also has to do with location, but that's just what geography is all about, combines a lot of activities. And so we have these questions that are involved. We have question about what is where. We have where is what. We have what if modeling question. If we have a situation, we can create scenarios with geography. Then when, talking in terms of time and why, how. You see, these are questions that geography tend to answer. Tend to seek answers for. And we do this, using different forms. We have from economic perspective in terms of growth, urban or rural growth, politics or political behavior, in a physical side, talking about the landforms, the water environment, vegetation, climate, weather, culture, socials, religion, settlements. If you look at all these things, you discover that geography really involves very many things. Well, as a geographer, the other one in blue color are just my area of expertise. Even picking one of them, water, for example, whose basis is what we've focused in the study of hydrology. We have a lot of things that are involved, thinking about the extreme climatic conditions that generate flood, thinking about disaster, thermal stress, impact of human activities, natural activities to, issues where we have issues relating to engaged rivers, runoff studies, water pollution, precipitation chemistry. Generally speaking, we have several things that can actually be focused on as a geographer. But now we have our own challenges. Sorry about that. We have our challenges. The question is, how do we do this best? And then just to tell us the relevance of geography in the Sustainable Development Goals, virtually every aspect, not even virtually, every aspect of the Sustainable Development Goal is handled by an aspect of geography. And then that means that every aspect of sustainable development goal has to do with information that are related to location, condition, what if, scenario creation, temporal information. If they have all these features, then all these questions are space bound. And so there's just nothing we're going to do that we won't find the issue relating to space. So we have our space here, we have the Earth, and then we have the themes, different aspects of the Earth, and then our interest is to answer those basic questions that we think that people can develop skills to. Issues about location, condition, modeling, relationship, impact, trend. And the question is this: what skills do people have to get or seek in this area? In terms of location, we have people that use some instruments. For example, Dr. Joy mentioned issues about geographic information system, but in this particular area, we have GPS, and then we have geographical positioning system at different types. We have different versions. We have remotely sensed data. We have different area. We need people that will get empowered in this area. And this is actually what we do in geography. So generally speaking, in geography, we want to represent our data as points, as segments or lines, as polygon or areas. Interestingly, this is what we do also in space. As Basuti spoke in the beginning of these areas, we talk about information objects now, information about specific objects on the Earth, because we are interested in solving a particular problem. Then they have the attribute features. All these are things that interest a geographer. And so generally the activities of a geographer involve looking for real life problem, acquiring data to solve those problems, analyzing those data, and presenting a decision support information that will help us to solve that problem. So if we have a situation like that, then we have skills. We need people that will need skills in remote sensing, in digital surveying, in laboratory analysis, in social surveys, just use of interview, questionnaire administration. And then we need people with skills in computing, hardware development, software development. And again, we need people that will be interested in a visual analysis, visual interpretation, and all sorts of things. So generally speaking, when there is a vote of interest in space technology, then we are able to solve geographical problems. And then if you're able to solve geographical problems, we are able to solve life problems. Then apart from solving life problem, we are able to provide capacity for some people. And again, eventually, we are able to get some income as a government. So generally speaking, I just look at the skills in about four areas about remote sensing. And we have different types of remote sensing. Here we have physicists working, space technologists working, electrical electronics engineers, mechanical engineers working. And there are some people that are interested in field work. These are areas where we can actually get on with skills acquisition. Even in social sciences and humanities, we can actually have them here because eventually we'll be able to combine all these data sources and then make informed decision on certain issue. We have software engineer, statistical data, and then we have people that function as modeler. And then we have this. The question again is this: why space technology? We have space technology. We have to think about space technology because we need information about dangerous zones, because we want to predict what happens. We need information about areas that are security challenge. we need information about historical data. There's no information. No, we can't really get information because in Africa, for example, let me give an example of remote sensing data that we actually prefer in most of our analysis. Landsat. Landsat, it's free to download. It's provided by the United government. I mean, sorry, US government. And again, it's free. And again, because it gives us information right from where it started in 1976 up to these people, we can actually have this kind of multi-date comparison. Without this information, we might not be able to have it because we're not going to live forever. And again, we're not going to be everywhere at every time. And we have large set of data that we can combine. And again, I just mentioned Landsat. We have other sensors that acquire data, and they are of different skills. It is cost saving. It is reusable, multispectral. Sometimes we have to appreciate colors and get to do some other things. Now, the challenge is this. According to Ebruka, I think I just like to quote for that. We said, space science education at all levels, primary, secondary school, is an essential tool that will create an enabling environment for scientific research and development. This is a challenge, but the question now is this: what is happening? So about what is happening. I'm going to have some information, provide some information about what is happening in Nigeria. For example, in Nigeria, we have.
Sorry for interruption.
Yeah.
Dr. Adebayo, just as you conclude on the case studies,
yes.
I hope that you have about 1 minute. I hope you'll be able to make.
Definitely. Thank you very much. Yeah. We have problem with education finances, and then currently now even people that are enabling the skills in Nigeria in the universities, the academic staff union are on strike. Universities in Nigeria are closed down. And that's actually a challenge. Previously we used to have JETS. I mean, these are clubs that initiate, skills development. They're not available over there again. Then we have issues with curriculum. Most of the time we have distorted curriculum. Geography, for example, has been eliminated as a compulsory science subject or social science subject in Nigerian curriculum. Then we have poor or lack of career guide. We have issues with field work. We have poor governance every time. We have lack of trained teachers, poor finances, and the infrastructural problem. Sometimes in Nigeria, I know that's actually an occurrence in part of Africa. We have poor electricity supply and internet services. So if you look at this situation, I think that is actually the situation. But I want to conclude that according to Thailand, that space technology could have a significant impact on socioeconomic development in Nigeria and Africa, and the space technology could also solve the problem of poverty if we invest in it very well. Thank you very much, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Adebayo Oluwole Eludoyin. I think you seem to be a very great lover of geography. You should be able to go and pay your geography teachers, because you have almost made all things we have learned to look like geography. Yeah, but thank you for those insights.
Thank you very much.
Nigeria being one of the biggest economies in Africa, I think there will be a fair comparative analysis with Botswana. The challenges you have highlighted in terms of the education and skills gaps. I hope that maybe Basuti will be able to learn one or two things that she could be able to drive home in Botswana. Yeah, but because we have become one as Africa, I hope that we can keep on talking, we can keep on sharing this information, both from the technical aspect, operational levels, the political level, to ensure that we can affect the decisions in our governments and environments. So thank you once more, Dr. Adebayo Oluwole.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Next, we are preparing to have the next speaker, Mr. Willem Goss. As Willem comes on board, yesterday we were drinking Pumzi blended herbal tea, and we were saying that it's a good brand in Uganda. So we have promised to be able to get in touch with the presenters to get some flavor of Pumzi blended herbal tea. So today, let us see how it goes. If the presentations are perfect, we shall also liaise with each one of you to receive a packet of Pumzi blended herbal tea. Yes, William goes. Please come on board.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC, and thank you to all the speakers. Great points that you're driving home. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the listeners from wherever you are. Let's talk about space entrepreneurship. How do we awaken the next generation of space entrepreneurs? And the best way to do that, for Africa to go big in space, we need to go small. Let me repeat that again. We need to go small in order to go big. Let me explain the context and history where I come from. That I'm from South Africa, Johannesburg. I apologize for the bad lighting. We just got load shedded, so I have no electricity and I'm running on batteries. And I have a jacket on because I can't run the electric heaters. But that said, based in South Africa, my business, the Human Entrepreneur, we are dedicated to solving the unemployment crisis in Africa. And we developed a process in Africa, for Africa, proven in Africa, where we create entrepreneurs in 5 weeks or less instead of 12 months, your typical process that they take. And it is contextualized, relevant, and applicable and executable to the people of Africa, where we create hundreds of micro enterprises per month. That said, space race is usually a big investment and people think of it as a big thing, but you don't necessarily have to. You know, micro business is 10 people or less. It's not one person. It's not somebody sitting on the street side selling fruits or vegetables. You can have a brilliant business with 10 or less people where you do amazing things. One example was a young lady in America where she didn't get into the space program because it is quite a rigorous program to get into. And if you get in there, you're quite lucky. And then she thought, no, I'm going to start a rocket engine company. Well, more of a satellite engine company where they make micro engines for satellites. And the demand for smaller and micro satellites are growing. Her company is building and leading the race in engines for satellites. Now, most people would think, what, rockets is only space, the big things that you see Elon Musk build. But you have to move the thousands upon thousands of satellites around in space to reposition them, keep them in the right position where you want to do your readings. And that's an example of a small idea starting as a small business, growing into something bigger. And it's about creating companies that not necessarily lead the space race, but contribute to the space race. It can be creating parts, certain technologies, elements that might be shipped to Europe, stimulating international trade and import and exports for Africa, where these small businesses that are agile, adaptable, and innovative can create tomorrow's space technology and space materials. And we can do that in small companies. But that's one thing. The second part that we need to do that, although we're looking at the stars, we need to look to the land as well. We need to look at Africa. What's the use of having all the space technology available to us if the people on the ground can't utilize it? If there's no businesses able on the ground to make use of these services and new technologies available. Thus, we need to create a tsunami of micro businesses in the space race as well as terrestrial. That's when we create that commercial relationship and get the maximum impact that we can from space, because as soon as the technology is available, it gets consumed by those businesses on the ground. Thirdly, I want to steer us away from the whole unicorn approach to business investment. And especially one speaker spoke about the billions of dollars of investment and in the space industry in Africa. Now, to define a unicorn, that's mostly a US term where a company, a privately held company, is valued at $1 billion or more. I don't think unicorns serve the people and the needs of Africa because it's mostly ROI driven. It's there to benefit the investors, not necessarily the people on the ground, not necessarily short term, maybe long term. Maybe they build a massive unicorn communications company, but that takes 10 years for the people on the ground in Africa to gain benefit in that. Rather, when we invest in space, ask ourselves, how can we make this the most impactful for the people on the ground, those who need it most? And not just the captains of industry, but let all of Africa, all the people of Africa, and all the countries of Africa benefit from what we can achieve from space. So for us in Africa to go big, we need to go small, and we need to start as small as possible. Thank you, Mr. MC.
Thank you, William Goes, for your comments and insights. I don't know, because you look like you are saying that sometimes the investments in space technology majorly benefit the investors, right? And,
yes, if you look at your typical
we
large company investment,
it appears to be from most government officials or the leaders to think that instead of thinking about space technology, which is out of our ability or our normal range, we would rather be able to invest in quite common things. Are you agreeing with that? Well, because from your proposition, yes, you appear to say we would rather concentrate on what we can manage than going into those big notions. Is that what you're saying?
No. Let me explain it in simpler terms. Instead of designing the latest luxury car that'll wow the world, let's start by manufacturing the tires. Let's start by manufacturing the windscreen for that car, where it's manufactured somewhere else. And we can still benefit from the space technology, but let us at least participate in a sense, because that's the quickest, fastest, and most cost-effective way to do so.
Okay. No, I get, you sound loud and clear that irrespective of whatever innovation that is coming on the African continent, there must be space that is given to the local people. That's what you're saying. Wow. Okay.
And start small. Don't go big.
Thank you very much, William. Thank you for that. William is the founder of the Human Entrepreneur South Africa. Thank you very much. Greet our people in Johannesburg. Okay. Okay, I hope Professor Emmanuel, the next presentation is on relevance of space studies to agricultural practice in Africa by Professor Emmanuel Abiodun Ariibi.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Professor Emmanuel Abiodun Ariibi is an Earth and Space Physics Research. Okay, he comes from Earth and Space Physics Research Laboratory, Department of Physics and Engineering, from the University of Bafemi, Awolowo University of Nigeria. Please, let's use minutes because we have to stop by 8. So let's just use the minutes available and freeze our presentation so that we can be in time. Professor, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Prof.
Can you? Oh, that's great. I want to thank you especially for this event, for this launch. Gotospace Botswana. It's good to be involved in it. And special thanks also to Basuti Bolo, who actually is the facilitator and has been very, very instrumental to my participation. Actually, we met more than 10 years ago at a GNSS meeting in Italy. And she actually had that passion, that drive towards ensuring space knowledge propagation in Africa, and particularly in Botswana. And I want to also thank Tanya Innovation for hosting this event. And of course, I want to greet everyone.
Thank you.
Actually, I'm interested in talking about the relevance of space science to agricultural practice in Africa. Being somebody from physics background, we all know that astronomy actually has to do with observation of objects in space and actually predates reliable recorded human history. And of course, astrophysics actually involves the application of principles of physics to describe and understand objects in space. So actually, there are many things for us to look at in space. We can look at space at various levels to actually solve immediate problem on Earth, and of course, to identify new objects that may have similar conditions like what we have on Earth, and of course, to understand even deeper space studies, really. So why space science and agriculture? It's actually desire by man to explore his immediate environment for survival, and of course, avail himself the use of other resources. Please, I may want to share screen.
Your PowerPoints?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you share.
Yes, okay. Let me just get that. Okay. Wow. Okay. I'm coming. Okay. Well, let me just go ahead. It's like I don't have it in the Dropbox and the files required there. Actually, the world population, and of course by extension or by implication, the African population is actually increasing over a fixed landmass. I would have loved to show the landmass of Africa for you, where you see the desert area, the Sahel Desert. You have the Kalahari Desert, and all the other desert landscapes that for most part of Africa. And of course, with somebody who has good knowledge of geological situation and features on Earth, we also have a prominently featuring Cameroon volcanic line. We also have the East African Rift system, and there are many other systems that actually will be competing for the space that we even want to use for agriculture. And so therefore, of course, I also have the map of the croplands, that is the areas that can be cultivated for crops and all that. Aside from the Congo, where you have thick forests, many of these actually challenged. And the land that is available, we have to use it for both for human habitation, for infrastructural development, and of course for agricultural practice. And as we know, agriculture is by far the most important economic activity in Africa. And of course, it provides employment for about 2/3 of the continent's working population. And of course, a sizable contribution to GDP. And of course, we all know that urbanization and infrastructural development actually cannot go along the side of the subsistence farming that has to do with shifting cultivation and all the other traditional farming practices. And as the population of Africa is about 1 billion now, and a few decades from now, it will be double, according to FAO 2017. So, as the population grows, the demand on available agricultural land to produce food will also be challenged. And of course, to sustain this expanding population, it is crucial that nations on the continent work to maximize their agricultural production. If you, on my figure 2 here, I have the world agricultural production per capita. That of Africa is actually going down. If you go by the index of 1961, as presented in Hazel and Wood 2008. And so there's the need to sharply increase food production to meet the demands of a rapidly growing population over a relatively fixed arable land. This is very paramount. And so if you have a large farm, as will be the practice in most parts of Africa, to cope with the challenge of population, to actually understand and get to understand the a regional expanse of land or a geospatial land or a geospatial space, there is the need for us to go to have area survey so that it will help us to delineate soil variation and of course nutrient variation. And then of course that will inform the quantity and types of fertilizer that will be applied for a better yield. So the need for area mapping to map and control pests, migrating pests, local swarms, polar bears, which are very prevalent in Africa, is very, very essential. Though when we say yield or productivity of agriculture, what really comes to mind is, oh, we just improve the seeds. We have such a center in the IITA in Ibadan here in Nigeria, where they produce high-yielding seeds, but that is not enough. There are other things that actually come into play when we look at high yield or agricultural productivity. There are many things that we need to contend with. I try to write an equation, in which case I have the high yield or agricultural productivity having to do with land factors, agricultural factors, natural disaster factors, plus other factors. There are many factors actually. And these are the factors
as you move on, we have about 2 minutes. I hope it's enough time for you. Is that?
I should be able to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So for us to have a sustainable agricultural practice as part of SDG, we need to avail ourselves the usage of readily available online resources by NASA, ESA, and all the others, really. And so that we can actually look at some of these factors that I've mentioned, especially part of the land factors that can be looked into is to look at land use and land cover over a regional scale. And then, of course, to map also the soil water content and salinization, and then other factors along that line. And then, of course, we need to also look at desert encroachments. The encroachment, if you monitor it over time, you begin to have an idea of how that is having effect on your crop yield over time and what you need to do to actually regain or to try to draw back the effects of that desert encroachment. Like we have the green wall in the Sahel, cut across part of West Africa. And of course, again, if you have migrating pests like locusts or the cooler beds, you want to actually map, that is using satellite, low Erbis satellite, to map and get to know the devastation, and then you can now plan to actually carry out your spray and all of that you need to do. Then again, in the area of land degradation, soil erosion, and of course, let's mention something like areas that are prone to earthquakes. You don't want to invest your money in large farms in areas where we have volcanic activity like we have in the CVL, that's the Cameroon volcanic line, and all the others. And then, of course, there are cases of flood arising from climate change. I don't know, that may be what actually brought about the incidents in 2012 in Nigeria, where most part of Nigeria was flooded because they have to open part of the dam in Cameroon. And so most parts were flooded in 2012. But some states, regions in Nigeria were able to get across that, because when they hear that sound, that warning from NIMET, they were able to put measures in place, including widening drainage and all that. And that actually helped to save some crops. So really, space-based technology is very, very important and relevant for agricultural practice. And of course, again, there's what we call precision farming. That's another level. Just like my last speaker said, we should go for the basic. Let's use low Earth orbiting satellite to actually monitor our land resources for optimal usage. And of course, I want to leave you with this. There are many resources online that can be used to actually do that. And then again, there's also the agriculture of the future, or what I call space agriculture. That is outside of space, that is outside of the Earth. Space farming will require not only high yield in a limited area, that is, we have a limited area in space, but we also need smart use of water and energy resources inside control ecosystem outside of Earth, be it in Mars where you have water in a frozen form, or any other planet where the condition there can be favorable to some of the plants we have here. So I want to thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, the coordinator. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof, for your presentation. You are now talking about agriculture of the future. Everything is, we appear to be looking, it appears that there are so many things we have to put our focus on. Yeah. Because either whatever we are having is becoming obsolete, or we have to look at new innovations of doing things. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have Timothy Kudzanai Kuhamba, because by the time I introduced guests, I think Timothy was not here. So I'm going to jump straight to Dr. Kyla L. Tenin from the US. Dr. Kyla. Oh, I hope Dr. Kyla, you're ready. I'm seeing as if, I hope I haven't come to you when you're not said. It's because we had Timothy Kudzanai. Oh, is he on? Is Timothy on?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I think because when I was doing the introduction, I didn't get, is it possible to put your video on then?
All right.
And then could you just kindly use 5 minutes? We look like we're going off time and we need to stop by 8. If you could just be able to summarize your presentation in 5 to 7 minutes. Is that okay? Your microphone, I think put on your microphone.
Yeah, can you see my slides?
Oh, yes, we can, yes.
Okay, so can I start?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a warm welcome to people across the world. It's good. It's actually in the early mornings of, we're actually in the morning here in Japan. So my topic is the Africa we want, which is the Africa 2063 agenda. So I'm a senior research scientist from the Zimbabwe National Geospatial Agency. And also I'm a master's student at the Kyushu Institute of Technology, where I was participating in the BASE 5 project, where I was one of the engineers who built the Zimbabwe's first satellite. I was also the national coordinator for the World Space Week. And also in 2019, I was the Africa Space Leader Award winner. So I'm one of the pioneers of space education in Zimbabwe. I started in 2014, promoting space using my own pocket money through 2014 to 2018. I was doing this. Then later on, the government joined me. In 2014, I wrote on my Facebook page that I had a dream for my country, Zimbabwe, that I want to build the Zimbabwe space satellite. And well, it seemed to be a gimmick at that time, but in this year, it came into fruition where I built the Zimbabwe's first satellite. Then this also some of the works that I also do in terms of space education awareness. And this is just a picture that's showing that when I was doing my work here at the Kyushu Institute of Technology in Japan. So let's go straight into the topic, Africa 2063 agenda. Looking at the problems that the goal that for the modern agriculture for increased productivity and production. And also we need to have the blue ocean economy, accelerated growth. So the priority areas looking at this is the agricultural productivity. And also we are looking at utilizing the maritime resources. So I'm going to speak on how space technology can be used to look at these goals. Looking also at the issues to do with the environmental sustainability, climate resilience, economies and communities, and what also the priorities of sustainable natural resources and management of biodiversity, sustainable consumption, water security, disaster preparedness. So maybe before I go on to the other goals, I would speak about the issue of a satellite. So when you look at a satellite, it's got the ability of passing through the same place at the same time every day. So when you analyze the pictures over time, you'll be able to see the differences that have happened on the earth. So now when you look at the issues to do with agricultural productivity, you can be able to see what has been happening in your crop and also the amount of resources that are required on the crop through precision agriculture. So that ability through space technology can increase productivity. So that speaks to the first point. Looking also the issues that we can be able to analyze the reflectance, because each and every object on Earth has got a different the quality spectral signature or different reflectance. So that gives the ability for you now to be able to see the differences that are there. So through the use of space technology, you can be able to monitor the maritime resources and the port's operation. Also, looking at now the issue of biodiversity, the environment, since we're able to analyze pictures over time, it gives us the ability to analyze and understand what has been happening to our environment so that we can plan and manage the environment in a sustainable way. So then looking at the space economy, you'd find that it is projected by this Morgan Stanley research that it will be above $1 trillion. So you can look that this is a very good industry for that can help the African economy. So what are the different types of satellites that we have? We've got very different types of satellites, like we've got the Pico satellite, 1 to 10 kg, we've got the nano, for the micro. So these type of satellites, they've got different capabilities that we have. So for Earth observation, like we've got this remote sensing 100 to 500, but usually these are in the low Earth orbit so that we can have better resolution and you can be able to monitor for environmental, for agriculture, and also for the geostationary that can be used for communication. And also we've got others that can be used also for weather and astronomy. So what is the cost of the satellite? When you look at the cost of the satellite, different sizes, they've got different types of costs. But the issue of the mineralization and also the satellite, they're now becoming more powerful. It has made many nations to be able even to launch not only their first satellite, but also to continuously give solutions that can solve most of the problems that we have, and that can also help with the 2063 agenda. So what should Africa do when you look at these issues to do with satellites? Since I've said that we've got different sizes. We've got the CAN satellite, we've got the CubeSat, we've got the microsatellite. So like the other speaker said that we need to start small. We can start small with the CAN satellite, then we go to the CubeSat like the one that we built, then we can go to the microsatellite, and we can go to the commercial satellite. So I'm going to talk about the strategies that can be applied that I think that when you look at the African region, we've got 5 different regions. So satellites, they are very expensive to make, but what do we need to do? So we can have regional blocks, like for example, Southern Africa, we've got the Central Africa, we've got East Africa, West and North. So the Southern Africa, they can have their own satellites, own constellation of satellite, meaning to say there'll be many satellites, and they can have different ground stations. So it will help them to reduce the costs, and also through different ground stations, they can be able to download the data, many information that can be used to analyze for different, let's say for agriculture, for environmental, that will help the Agenda 2063. So this video just shows you that we can have many satellites that can be used by different regional blocks through collaborative effort, because in space, international cooperation is one of the most important things that is in space. So what are also the strategy that needs to be done? We need to look at the industrial capability. We also need to promote the public-private partnerships. with respect to the Earth observation, we need to improve our research and development in Africa. We also need to look at the issues to do with capacity building in space engineering, space tourism, we've got space law, we've got geospatial, and also space entrepreneurship, because this is very much important through the capacity building, because we need to have a workforce that can be able to sustain the space industry. As you can see from the projections that I've shown, that this is projected to be more than $1 trillion. So thank you very much. I think I had less time, but I wanted to share a lot of information. But I think I have managed to share.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Timothy, for using your time well. I think that was inspirational on one hand, how you can start an initiative with pocket money. And this goes to a story that we are getting to many other people who try to be enterprising in Africa, where sometimes money in particular is limited. So I think we shall get some other time to be able to share on a wider scope. Maybe through Basuti, we can arrange to have a one-on-one session. Part of what we do on this platform is to engage and have that detailed information coming to the people. So we won't want to freeze it. But for today, that is good enough. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Can we then now invite Dr. Kyla L. Tenin, the Chair Board, President and Global CEO of Lady Mirage Global Inc. and World Business Angels Investment Forum from the United States of America. She will be talking about how to generate and launch entrepreneurship ideas. I hope that after her talk, we shall easily migrate to become billionaires in American dollars. Okay, Dr. Kyla, come. You're welcome. Unmute your microphone. Yes, thanks.
Thank you for that introduction. Can you all hear me well?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, great. I should be able to still see you. So I'm starting my presentation now. Can you see the slides?
Yes, we can.
So as he said, my name is Dr. Kyla Tennant, and I'm with the World Business Angels Investment Forum. I work with a lot of institutions on entrepreneurship as well as entrepreneurship, which is developing corporate ventures inside of companies and entrepreneurship outside of companies. I also have a number of roles there with our Global Women's Leaders Committee, Executive Council, the Chair of Board of Directors, and various other roles there, and working with like SME Finance Forum, the World Bank, and other institutions, basically to fund what other speakers today have been talking about, like skills needed for entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship, to create jobs. And also what the previous speaker just spoke about, creating entrepreneurial ideas to boost different economies, but also the African economy. So I have a number of different roles, and what I want to talk about today is entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship. And with my organization, we are global. We have 31 locations. We're in 31 countries and 24 locations, and we have 26 subsidiaries. But our main firm is a management consultancy where I actually help organizations, specifically large companies, with entrepreneurship ideas. But that wasn't always the case for me, because I came from a small rural town in the United States of America. And to be brief, over the years, I ended up getting into domestic violence relationships, becoming homeless for a number of years, about 10 years. And then I also went through losing a child, just a variety of different adversities, and having scarcity of food and water and clothing issues. But during all of that, I decided that I needed to become an entrepreneur to develop companies so that I had income. to come out of those situations. And I didn't want to do it alone. I wanted to help other women and girls. And so that's where a lot of our companies come from. And so the Sustainable Development Goals that I'm passionate 4, 5, 8, and 17, which is quality education and lifelong learning, gender equality and empowerment for women and girls, which is number 5. Number 8, promoting sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, basically productive employment and decent work for all. And number 17, getting all this done using global partnerships for sustainable development. And that global partnership can be for capacity building, trainings, mentoring, finance, funding, technology, trade, various things. And all the institutions that I partner with and am affiliated with are not haphazard. They're for a reason, to accomplish these sustainable development goals. Because of the adversities I faced in my past and how I came out of them, I love to help other women and girls achieve these as well within our private business school that we have and our Entrepreneurs Academy, specifically for women and girls, outside of our management consulting firm. And so what exactly is entrepreneurship? An entrepreneur is someone who displays the same characteristics as an entrepreneur, but remains within the organization as an employee. They generate enterprise for the organization rather than create their small businesses. And of course, all of this is done because we need to create additional revenue streams of income. We need to create additional jobs to help keep businesses going, but most importantly, so that individuals have work opportunities and economies thrive. So entrepreneurship is also defined as internal entrepreneurship, as well as innovation to invent something like an idea paired with a process and a market, which I've developed many ideas in our corporations. I develop all of our service trademarks or patents. And all this came about. I was actually going through those adversities. And so I teach this in our academy and how people can take their skills and abilities and commercialize them in companies and entrepreneurship, or on their own to create their own company, which is entrepreneurship. And that's on this next slide here. And so basically to become an entrepreneur, to generate ideas and to launch them. And you heard William talk about his, I think he said a 12-week program. No, a 5-week program. Ours is 8 weeks within our academy. But basically, you want to look at your why, your reason for wanting to become an entrepreneur. You want to look at the who, your entrepreneurship characteristics. What are your skills, talents, and abilities? Most of the things that we learn in academia as professors, as students, as faculty can be commercialized and turn into patents, trademarks, and entrepreneurship ideas. Now that we're in a pandemic, these things can be sold globally and even online, which is digital transformation. Then you want to look at the what products and services are you selling and your unique selling proposition. And at the end of all this, where are you going to sell these things, the niche, the market? Who are your customers? There are different quizzes and things that you take online for free to help with some of these questions. So for entrepreneurship, which I mentioned is distinct from entrepreneurship, some of the questions that you want to ask regarding innovation capacity is, do we have the capacity to innovate? Should we innovate? How can we know if we should innovate? Where are we going to create these products and services to generate additional revenue streams, to keep a business going, and then to employ individuals to assist with these products and services and selling them to customers and carrying out the implementation process, when, where, and how, and if we should innovate. And then you want to discuss these within an organization, but not only with that, within yourself if you're becoming an entrepreneur. So how do you launch an entrepreneurship idea? Some of the tools that you can use online for free are different toolkits like the innovation portal. They have case studies, interviews, strategy, market research, and creative ideas and tools that you can use. And there's also what's called diffusion of innovation. Maybe there's a product or service already on the market that you can take and you can recreate it like you see with different boxes, programs that are sent out, so that grocery stores, you don't have to go inside all the time during the pandemic. You can create a program for that. There are different boxes of opportunities that you can create for pets, for women, for children, for men, whether it's personal care products or some other food product or beverage product. So there are a variety of ideas that you can do, but mostly the Innovative Capabilities Audit Framework, which comes from a scholar at a particular institution, actually came up with this, and I just revamped it for some of the work that we do. You need resources. You need to study your competitor strategies. We need technology. We need structure and culture, as you can see in this diagram. So a variety of things, as well as strategic capacity. You need internal entrepreneurs, specifically in corporations, that have these ideas and strategies where we can come together and have a meeting to come up with the different things that we need in order to accomplish entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship ideas. And so with resources, looking at your competitors, looking at your who, what, when, why, and how, looking at technology, different markets you want to go into, what's your niche, products and services you may want to start. Then you want to look at resources specifically. Resources availability and allocation. You want to look at finances, equipment, time, administrative resources, staffing. Is that something that you need? Leadership, mentoring and training programs. Maybe you need transformational leaders that know how to implement these ideas and will do so whether it's in a paid program or an accelerator that can assist with this for free. Maybe establish some reward systems, keep a database of how you're going to manage all this knowledge and the people that's going to be involved with the entrepreneurship, which is also required for entrepreneurship if you're doing this on your own. Some other information we need to look at for new innovative ideas and product development, technology, and commercializing these ideas is, with a venture, maintain our capacity to compete in new areas? Would it help us create new niches, or would this help us create new revenue streams? How is this going to help us grow a business or an economy? Also within corporate ventures, will we need integrated business teams, a separate unit or division for doing this? Will this be a spinoff of another product or service? Who are our customers? What is the market gap? How much is this going to cost? Loss of productivity costing consumers thousands of dollars, something you need to look at. How much is this going to cost us? How much is this going to cost the customer that we're selling this to? Look at financials. If you have certain customers, do they even have the income to spend on these new products and service ideas that we have to create jobs, keep markets and businesses going? So these are some of the things that you actually look at when you're looking at entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship ideas. I know I'm going through this kind of fast, so I hope it's making sense. But overall, on this last slide, basically entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship ideas are put into place because you want to solve a problem for a specific customer or a specific market. You need to generate the idea, considering your why, who, and what. Then you need your target audience. Maybe it's 18 to 25-year-olds, government organizations, or certain economies. Then you need to launch the idea, maybe using an accelerator or a program that gets very specific about your product or service, and make sure you include digital transformation because of pandemics. You know, I've done many presentations on recessions, pandemics, and they happen every 2 to 3 years. Not necessarily pandemics and recessions, but some kind of catastrophic event throughout nations. And so we need to be online. So considering doing business online, and then you need to file for copyrights, trademarks, or some type of intellectual property to make sure that your idea isn't stolen. And if it is, that you get paid for it, because IP is commercialization as well. That's all that I have for you today. I know I went through that kind of fast, but I pretty much want to say everything that we talked about today and what I just discussed, resources we need, different things that we need to look at. All these are different things that can be accomplished in strategic partnerships. So we need to work together to help Basuti with this, with the implementation of her program, different resources that she may need or may reach out to us for, in the future, and to be available to do that. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that brief presentation, but it looks packed and it has all the details. I'm sure that our viewers or people that we shall make referrals will be able to follow that online. So thank you so much. I think that's powerful. When you're talking about, did you say 30-something companies? Or the presence? How many countries did you say?
We're in 31 countries, but we have 26 subsidiaries.
Oh, okay. So I was looking, probably guessing the age and seeing the presence you have made on the world, and I think that's quite a commendable job. Okay. Thank you for the insight. I am sure that...
and I'm 40, so I'll tell you I'm 40.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Doctor, for that presentation. We were literally coming to the end, and I'm getting request from from Basuti Gatibolo to allow Dr. Annie, I think Dr. Annie Samuel, to just make some few remarks. He was supposed to make presentation yesterday, and he didn't. I'm actually going to give him 5 minutes. If it was not a request of Basuti, I think I wasn't going to. But I think he knows. She must be knowing how much information, data, resource he is. And it's for that reason. So, Doctor, let us give you, we missed you yesterday, but please just use 5 minutes to summarize your presentation. Then we can close.
Okay. Is it possible for me? Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me?
Your microphone?
Yes. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes.
Okay, that's good. Is it possible for me to share my screen? I will just make a very fast one then.
Yeah, you can share your screen.
Okay, good. All right. Sorry, yesterday I was really engaged and something came up and I had to attend to it. That was actually the reason why I wasn't able to feature yesterday. But I really appreciate the team for organizing this program. Okay. Can you see it now?
I think yeah, we can see.
Okay, that's good. Well, hello everyone. It is very nice and it's a great pleasure to be part of this Gotospace launch event. I really want to commend the Gotospace team for their passion in ensuring the light of space is brought to the community, most especially the young ones. At the back of my mind, I was thinking that this is targeting the young generation, the girls and all that. So my talk is going to be targeting that direction. I know we've spoken, most of the speakers have talked about so many other things, but now I will focus on some of the things that concern the kids, the future, as we call them. They are our future, and it's good to get them prepped for what is actually coming up. The average age of people that worked on the Apollo program is 27 years. We know what this means. I remember when President Kennedy said that the Americans had to be on the moon within a decade. Actually, that requires people that were thinking outside the box. Remember, the Russians were the first in everything, and it just gave the Americans that target and said, okay, by the end of the decade, you have to be on the moon. So you needed people with great ideas to be able to achieve such kind of goal. And the young people rose to it, and they were able to achieve that goal. Even among the 400,000 people that were able to work on that program, these young people just finished universities, high schools, but they got up to it, and eventually the Americans were able to win the space race. So we must therefore recognize the important role the younger generation can play when they are properly harnessed. And one of the advantages we have in Africa is that we have the population. In about 2001, the population of Africa is 1.4 billion, and about 60%, I say 60%, that's more than half, under 25 years. So this is a great thing for Africans. So it shows that we can actually utilize this. We are blessed with younger demographic, and this also creates an opportunity for us in terms of manpower, workforce, and talent. But it's also a challenge, as this young population have to be catered for in a continent that had lots of challenges. And some of these challenges include like lack of basic life necessities, like some of the speakers have mentioned, food, shelter, clean water, even combating diseases, population growth, deforestation, unemployment, and insecurity, which is what is ravaging different parts of the world now, especially in some of the sub-Saharan African countries. But the interesting thing is that space technology can actually help to solve some of these problems if properly harnessed. And so many of the technologies that we have can actually be employed to actually solve some of these problems. But the thing is that if you look at this picture, in the past, Africa has really been very, very passive about human spaceflight, exploration, and all that. The picture on top here shows a place in Kano, Nigeria, where the Americans installed a mast for tracking the satellite. That was before the advent of all this tracking and data relay satellites and the synchronous satellites, and even some modern ground stations. Even in South Africa too, exactly the same thing. But recently, what is happening is that we are becoming very proactive. We are beginning to respond to some of those challenges by actually participating, and some of the countries in Africa are actually becoming spacefaring. But what we actually need to be very proactive is active participation. We need to participate very, very well. There is no way any technology can be given to us. And because of that now, you have to also collaborate with other countries. Some of us are aware of what the Cassini-Huygens mission, you see, is between European Space Agency and the NASA, the Americans. So we must be able to collaborate. Then in terms of contribution, you must bring something to the table. You don't participate in space programs by just sitting by the side. You need to contribute one thing or the other. So it is a time where when we start contributing. And now I want to talk about space exploration, because this is my field, like human space flight into deep space. And there are so many reasons why we're actually interested in human space flight. One of them is the cultural part of it. For all of us, it is inherent in humans to know what is happening in the universe. Even all the ancient people, they looked at the stars and wondered what they were. And we've always wanted to know what is happening at the other part of the fence. Then the second one is the political knowledge, as in how do you gain an advantage, maybe when you're talking about different countries and all that. And the third one is scientific knowledge, to know what is happening so that we're able to do away with myths and other things. And other things include the international partnerships that I've mentioned earlier, and assurance that in the future, if there's any cataclysmic event, the human race will still continue. And of course, space exploration is inspiration. Like you see what Basuchi is doing now, is going to inspire many generations, because you know the young people, once they get this in their mind, instantly they will go with it. And there are different destinations that have actually been planned. Some scientists and engineers are still debating them. We have places like the near-Earth asteroids and the Moon and Mars. These are places that in the future, we hope that we will be able to get to. And the goal is for us to find a place where we can stay in the future. This is a picture from SpaceX, and it's actually showing the proposed plan for colonization of Mars. And the interesting thing is that this will require the efforts of so many people, not just the experts, as it were, but younger generation that are able to think outside the box, because there are so many challenges that are being faced. For example, several questions. There are so many things that need to be discussed. One, how do we efficiently transport astronauts to this space? People ask me this question. Okay, the last time humans were on the moon was 1972. And this is 2022, 50 years. So why are we not on Mars? So the question is, this goes on and on, but it's not something you can just do. We need to develop the technologies to be able to do that. How do we protect astronauts from the harsh environment of space? In the International Space Station, you are still around the Earth, you are protected a little bit. But when you start traveling to Mars, when you'll be like about 7 months in transit, and you're going to be on the surface, like what is called the DRA 5.0, the Design Reference Mission, you have to stay for almost like 1,000 days away from Earth. That's a very long time, and you need to take care of yourself. And so many other questions that need to be answered. But the young population are the ones that will have to think outside the box to make sure that these things happen, which is why I actually applaud what Basuti is doing, because the younger generation themselves will be able to key into this, they get inspired, and at the same time, they're able to contribute. Capacity building can come in different forms. Creating interest in STEM subjects and encouraging students to take up careers in STEM fields. That's very, very important. And that is exactly what Basuti is doing. Then local and regional space education workshops, teacher trainings, space STEM-based curriculum development with input from educators, scientists, engineers, and other experts. Then exchange programs for students to visit different space-based institutions where they can be motivated to pick up careers in space science. So now, in conclusion, because of our time, future deep space exploration require participation of younger generation for new ideas and innovation in the sector. This is a must because we need to think outside the box for us to be able to achieve this goal. Some of the technologies that we are looking for, we don't have it, but we need people that can think outside the box. Some people say that for the elderly community, for the maybe experts already, brains are set, but younger generations think of doing things newly in such a way that it will even be like magic. So the younger generation has to be involved. Then there's call to action to prepare for the future missions through active capacity building in STEAM and related fields. Then concerted efforts is required from all parties, young and old, to build space capabilities and bridge the technology gap, leading us to the future we want. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Annie, for that brief presentation, but still detailed in its own way. I now understand why Basuti was saying, oh, doctor. Okay. But that's great. Better late than never. At least we've been able to get your presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this time to thank all the presenters who've been able to make these presentations. I want to take this time also to thank Basuti Gatibolo for having been able to organize this event to come to fruition. I also want to thank the viewers who have taken the 2 days. I think to be able to invest in all this data and time to be on the platform, I think it's perfect. For viewers who will come in future, the contribution has been made. The launching and initiatives have been put into action, and it's incumbent upon you to use this information well, to be able to make the contribution you can make on our continent. The personalities who have just made presentations, they're human beings like you. They are available. They are part of the network. And I'm sure that where need arises, we can always be able to tap into them to be able to, learn from their expertise. And I'm sure they will be ready to come and share with us more knowledge, skills, and also expand in the networks they are using to make contribution in the space technology. Basuti, I don't know if you have some few comments you want to make before we break off.
Yes, just, I would like to comment to conclude. Good evening, audience. Good evening, presenters. I would like to thank you for these wonderful presentations and the contributions. I believe that you put everyone on board, and we were in space since since yesterday and today. you took all the world into space. Like I said, Gotospace, we have hope that Gotospace will address the challenges of the world. So indeed, you make it right straight away. So I would like to thank you and may God bless you. And remember to come back. This is not the end of it, it's the beginning of our partnership, friendship, and networking. Thank you.
Okay, I wish you all presenters well. Evening, those who are in the US, a very good morning. Enjoy. I don't know whether it's the sunshine or the breeze back wherever you are. Those who are on the African continent, I think this is just the beginning. This is how we make the contributions. Tanya Innovations Africa is a platform readily available for you. You can always get in touch with Basuti because we are in the same framework. And what we are trying to do is that we are trying to connect every single African to have a common place to find information. So we welcome you to always be with us. Basuti, congratulations for having made this. We are very proud of you. And we hope that we are going to get more better stories from Botswana. We're ready to support you. We're ready to network with you and make Africa a greater place. Good evening, everybody. And to our viewers and listeners, thank you so much. We can't be there without you, but we hope you can use this knowledge for greater purpose and also to cause the change we are all aspiring to see. Thank you. God bless you all.